Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Thursday. I hope you had a happy Thursday. And again, if you have been affected, or your loved ones, your friends, those in your circle have been affected by Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. We hope that you will find your stability and will come back to normality and safety as soon as possible. And again, if there's anything I can do in terms of connecting you to FEMA, or where to get aid, or you have any questions, please feel free to email me, DM me, and I will very gladly assist you on that. Again, thank you for joining. If it's your first time, please feel welcome to add your voice to our conversation. I love it more than anything when you comment, when you ask questions, when you react. So this is our conversation here together. And of course, all of it is about actual and factual news. And if you know something that is more updated than what I'm sharing here, please let me know. I gladly stay corrected, and we prove it, and we fact check it together. Okay, so today at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be having a watch party. So last reminder, we're going to have a watch party of VP Harris town hall on Univision. This will be in English. The questions will come in English and Spanish. So we will watch the English speaking version. And the link, everything is in this under RSVP section on the website. So if you go to honestnetwork.com, ONEST network.com. Do I have a banner with this? Let me see. I must. I don't. Well, I created now. Wait a second. So www.honestnetwork.com. Boom. So if you go to honestnetwork.com, there you see under menu, you see events. And there in the events section, you can RSVP to town hall and all other events. And if you create your profile on Honest Network, you will get all the reminders for upcoming town halls and events. Lisa, hey, I made it this far. 2 more hours. Yes, 2 more hours to watch party. Watch party will be juicy, okay? It has been pre-recorded. I know you have reacted like, oh my God, what's happening? So VP Harris right now is starting a rally in Arizona. She can't be in 2 places at once. So she did pre-record it at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. She did pre-record it in Las Vegas. That's where the town hall was, and it was today, and it wasn't edited. So let's put that out of the way. There were 100 people, 100 voters who asked questions both in English and Spanish. And so this is going to be juicy. Yes, Daniel, it's going to be juicy. Yes, juicy. The last question is obnoxious because I received this in all transparency. I received the blueprint and the transcript. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. I didn't read through it because I want to watch it with you together. All I was pointed to see, like, check the last question. So I checked and was like, can you name 3 positive things about Donald Trump? I'm not going to share the answer, but that's the last question. It's going to be juicy. All right. And there were mean questions too. So it's not lighthearted. It's not like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Some questions about how she has become a nominee, whether she thinks this is okay or not. So all those questions that perhaps some people are asking, I don't, because I know the deal, but but certainly we will revisit that. So excited for the attributes. Oh yeah, Lisa, I think you can guess, but take several seats. That's sort of the answer in that May. So okay, let's start first by some sad news. Today, unfortunately, it was expected since the last week's developments, but today the Kennedy family has announced the passing of their family's matriarch, Ethel Kennedy. And so the entire family has shared that it is with our hearts full of love that we announce the passing of our mother, Ethel Kennedy. She died this morning from complications related to a stroke suffered last week. Along with lifetime's work in social justice and human rights, our mother leaves behind 9 children, 34 grandchildren, and 24 great grandchildren, along with numerous nieces and nephews, all of whom love her dearly. She was a devout Catholic and daily communicant, and we're comforted in knowing she's reunited with the love of her life, our father Robert Kennedy, her children, her daughter-in-law, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. Please keep our mother in your hearts and prayers. And certainly, perhaps if you have not paid attention most recently, but she has been very outspoken. I don't want to politicize this news at all, but she has been very outspoken, certainly against certain grandchildren who are running for president. But this is really somebody who has devoted her entire life to fighting for equality and for justice and social justice and for women and women's rights. So certainly, it's an end of an era. Certainly. Um, and President Biden issued such a touching statement, which I want to read to you. He says Ethel Kennedy was an American icon, a matriarch of optimism and moral courage, an emblem of resilience and service. Devoted to family and country, she has a spine of steel and a heart of gold that inspired millions of Americans, including me and Jill. We were blessed to call her a dear friend. And so he talks about how he grew up in Irish Catholic family and saw RFK and also Ethel as his heroes. And so then he said, when I moved into the Oval Office as president, I placed a bust of Robert Kennedy by the fireplace, as he and Ethel always had a place in my heart. And here you see a picture with a bust, and which ultimately ended up at the Oval Office near the fireplace. So I really encourage you to read the entire statement. It's in your newsletter tonight. By the way, if you have not subscribed, what the hell are you doing? Please subscribe. It's free. If you decide to support, thank you so much, because you allow me to do what I do. Also, by the way, this is not from me, but from my mother, okay? Please like this damn video, okay? Because she's telling me every night. So many people have watched and so many people have liked it or shared it. So please like it. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and, follow whatever you got to do. You know the drill, okay? So please make my mama happy, okay? Because so I don't have to answer. But onest.substack.com, free newsletter. Get your newsletter, get your actual news. There I shared the statement of President Biden and a bunch of other news as well. Let's check the comments. Lisa says, what? Rest in peace, Miss Skate. Yes, rewatched Ethel today, so she did so much. I need to rewatch that too. Thank you for telling me, Lisa. Yes. Because why? I'm producing a very, very important and really good event for November 5th, election night, which will be devoted in celebrating American democracy. And the biggest highlights, the known and unknown moments, important moments of our democracy, featuring people who have experienced that in person, featuring people who were the core of those moments, and other bystanders, and those who are, reliving those moments together, perhaps watching it on television. And so we will then guide it all up to President Biden's presidency that is the most accomplished, at least in my lifetime. So please join on November 5th. I'm gonna issue more promos and links for live stream and whatnot. But if you also want to be a part of it, I'm going to ask you if you want to be a part of it in our watch party tonight. So if you want to learn more, please join, because I'm going to share some updates, exciting updates, and some news before we start watching the town hall tonight. So if you want to know all of this, please join the stream 5 minutes early. It was done by her youngest and 11th child. Oh, Rory. Rory is amazing. Yes. Tell your mom she's right. You rarely say smash the like button. Smash the like button for Lisa and my mom, please. Please, I can't answer to this anymore. I forget to like it because I'm here. Oh, that's the point. Okay, thank you so much. The doc is free to watch on YouTube. Oh, thank you, Lisa. See, I'm going to put it in our newsletter tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love it. Okay, so let's continue. Then certainly, let's talk about the storm damage. Good news, it wasn't as hard as we feared, right? Bad news, the storm, I'm referring to hurricane, apologies, Hurricane Milton, which in my mind I call Milford constantly. Milton. Hurricane Milton brought with him, I guess it's a he, a bunch of tornadoes that were not really previously announced or anticipated. And those tornadoes have caused so much damage that it was really unpredictable. And so Milton, an extremely dangerous Category 3 hurricane, gained strength at near record speed as it made landfall along Florida's west coast on Wednesday night, yesterday. And then Milton became Category 1 hurricane, which was moving off Florida's east coast into Atlantic Ocean on Thursday morning after leaving millions without power. So 8 to 9 million people without power. There are people who have passed. There's still, checking on the damage, checking on the actual number of people who have passed or suffered from any consequences of it. So, but today, this morning, President Biden was updated on everything. Vice President Harris was updated by Secretary Mayorkas, by the administrator of FEMA administrator and whatnot. So he then came out and addressed the nation. And so I want to play this video for all of us. It's a 5-minute, 37 seconds video, but let's get the factual news directly from the source. And this is our president. When he says something, we better believe that is true, especially when it comes to factual information. So let's listen to him. And if you have not read about hurricane or what the damages are, let's invest 5 minutes and 37 seconds into it so we know the actual news. And whenever you see something online which is not true, then you will know what actually factually is true. So let's go.
Last night, Hurricane Milton made landfall, as we all know, on the west coast of Florida. It brought hurricane winds, heavy rains, including 10 to 20 inches of rain in the Tampa area overnight. Storm surge measurements are still being taken, but 38 tornadoes ripped through 13 counties. 4 deaths are reported thus far. It's too early to know the full account of the damage, though. But we know life-saving measures did make a difference. More than 80,000 people followed orders to safely shelter last night. And we've had search and rescue teams at the ready for any calls for help this morning. There's still very dangerous conditions in the state, and people should wait to be given an all clear by their leaders before they go out. We know from previous hurricanes that it's often the case that more lives are lost the days following the storm than actually during the storm itself. Vice President Harris and I have been in constant contact with the state and local officials. We're offering everything they need. I must have spoken to somewhere between 10 and 15 mayors and county executives and all the governors. And in fact, starting this morning, we are getting direct assessments from the storm of FEMA, from Director Criswell as well, also Florida Governor DeSantis, whom I had a chance to speak. And the Vice President and I have just convened a meeting this morning with the leaders of the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, including NORTHCOM Commander, who has responsibility for providing defense support to civilian authorities. And that apparently is going very well. As well as from the Coast Guard and from FEMA, we've received reports. We focused on what the American military can do like no one else can, provide emergency support for communities in need, and we're required by the governor in the affected states. And I've spoken to all the governors, not today all of them, but I've spoken to all of them thus far, and how we can be ready to go in an instant when the call comes. At my direction, the Defense Secretary Austin has provided a range of capabilities both to Florida for Hurricane Milton, as well as the states impacted by Hurricane Helene. And the more capabilities are available, we assess the pressing needs, we can get whatever they need. To the servicemen and women who are on the ground responding to these disasters, thank you. Thank you for your professionalism, your dedication to every mission you're given. You're repeating it again. This is a whole of government effort. It also includes the Department of Energy, Department of Transportation, Department of Health and Human Services, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which is providing mortgage relief for impacted homeowners. As directed, FEMA is going to open disaster recovery centers all across the impacted communities right away. So there's one stop the residents can go to learn about the support they might need, and they'll be advertised where those places are. 3 million people are without power, but more than 40 million power line workers have come from around the country, from Canada to Florida, to restore power across the state. In addition, the Federal Aviation has authorized Florida Power and Light to fly large drones before other manned aircraft can get up in the sky to quickly assess the damage on the ground so ground crews can restore power as quickly as possible. The Coast Guard and the Army Corps of Engineers are assessing how fast they can reopen the Port of Tampa to get fuel, food, water, and other basic goods flowing into the area again and quickly. Additionally, Vice President Harris and I said yesterday, and we'll say it again, to anyone who seeks to take advantage of our fellow Americans' desperation, whether you're a company engaging in price gouging or a citizen trying to scam your neighbors, we will go after you and we will hold you accountable.
Boom. And then President Biden turned into Dark Brandon. And if you hear often, you know we love this version of President Biden, by the way. Yeah. And if somebody is watching who is from near President Biden, we love it. Okay. We welcome it. Certainly it does involve press. Press has been screaming questions, and then he answered a couple of questions. Watch this, the biggest, the darkest Dark Brandon moment. And then I have a full readout of all the questions that he did answer. And by the way, the readout is also in your newsletter. Okay, so take a look.
President, have you spoken with former President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me? Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold those accountable.
Public will hold them accountable. You better than the press hold them accountable because you know the truth.
Do you plan to speak with former President Trump?
No.
No. If you work at the White House, you hear it very often. So when he walks around, he's like telling you what the deal is. Okay, so full readout. First question on FEMA funding. How much time does Congress have to act before FEMA or the SBA run out of money? By the way, if you have tuned in yesterday into my coverage, if you read your newsletter yesterday, I was at the FEMA update. We asked questions. They said they have $11 billion as of now. They spent around $1 to $2 billion on Helene and Milton, and they invested $7 to $8 billion into, what you said, coffee. Okay, interesting. Okay, it's real thing. They invested $7 to $8 billion into projects, 100 outstanding projects that they're financing right now. So they're not running out of money right now. But in case we have more hurricanes, because the hurricane season stretches till the end of November, they need more money so they can always be sure that they can fund the relief efforts and also prepare everything in case we're facing another disaster. So Biden says, that is in question now, but I don't want to mislead you. I think in terms of SBA, Small Business Association, which is not FEMA. FEMA is Federal Emergency, yes, Management. SBA, Small Business Administration, which covers the loss of profits and the loss of assets, okay? So it's very different. And he says, and I think the Congress should be coming back and moving on emergency needs immediately, AKA doing their job. they're going to have to come back after the election as well, because this is going to be a long haul for total rebuilding. It's going to take several $billions. It's not going to be a matter of just a little bit, but we're fighting now to make sure people have the emergency relief they need, the dollars just to be able to get a prescription filled, to get a baby formula done. That's $750 that they're talking about. Mr. Trump and all those other people know it's a lie to suggest that it's all they're going to get. That's bizarre. It is bizarre. They've got to stop this. I mean, they're being so damn un-American with the way they're talking about this stuff. But there's going to be a need for significant amounts of money. We're already underway of trying to calculate what the cost will be, because you don't want to mislead anybody. You want to make sure all the costs are able to be covered. Then the question goes, have you spoken to Speaker Johnson about coming back before the election? He says, no, I haven't. Next question. Are you calling on Congress to come back early? Biden says, I think Congress should move as rapidly as they can, particularly on the most immediate need, which is small business. Then the question is, the vice president said yesterday that FEMA has what it needs. There's enough resources, that Congress does not need to come back right away. Biden says FEMA has its needs. That's different than SBA. Question, so they need to come back for SBA? Biden says, yeah, but they're going to need a lot more. Next question, what did Prime Minister Netanyahu tell you about the plans related to retaliation? I have a readout on that. He says he's coming over to help with the storm. So, brushed it off. Have you spoken with former President Trump at all? He says, are you kidding me? About misinformation. Then he says, Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people. Question, will you hold them accountable? You said you were going to hold those accountable. Biden says the public will hold him accountable. You better, in the press, hold him accountable because you know the truth. Amen to that. Question, do you plan to speak with former President Trump? Answer, no. Right? So now when it comes to damage, here's some pictures that I wanted to show you. First, of course, the roof of the stadium, right? Tampa Bay folks, it was not supposed to, because it has been all this misinformation online. They did not use it to help people, seek refuge when they're leaving as a shelter, right? They use this to provide 10,000 beds for those first responders. So use it as a shelter for first responders, 10,000 beds. And then when Hurricane Milton made landfall, first things first, it just stripped this stadium off the roof off of the stadium. So that's how it looks right now. Then this is the debris after Milton swept through Bradenton, Florida on Thursday. And this is a picture of linemen gathering in front of hundreds of utility trucks staged at villages on Tuesday in preparation for Hurricane Milton. So this is a preparation. And just for us to understand how big the effort is and how timely it is and how the money is allocated timely. Very important to visualize that as well. So in other news, President Biden has proclaimed October 11th, 2024 as International Day of the Girl. And he says, quote, I call upon the people of the United States to observe this day with programs, ceremonies, and policies that advance equity and opportunity for girls everywhere. And First Lady Jill Biden hosted an event today at the White House celebrating the 10 girls, recipients of the awards who are doing a bunch of amazing stuff. I have a readout on that as well. And so they have been honored at the White House today. So in terms of transportation, quick readout from Pete Buttigieg. Oh my God, I don't have the video, but have you seen the video? I should show it to you tomorrow. Maybe I can upload it when I show another video of Trump pronouncing Buttigieg. And he says, Buttigieg, Anyway, that was recent, so it's quite funny. In July 2024, US airlines carried 91.8 million passengers, marking a 4.5 percent increase compared to the same month last year. However, when seasonally adjusted passenger enplanements were down 1.9% from June's record high, the breakdown includes 78.8 million domestic and 13 million international passengers, both reaching all-time highs for July. The Bureau of Transportation Statistics provides monthly reports on airline traffic, offering detailed data since 2000. For more information, you can refer to BTS website. Now, on economy, some things where I posted it on my Twitter. I call it Twitter shitter. So if you don't follow me, Onest Press, ONEST Press, you see it right there. So you watch on YouTube and then you use the Twitter shitter. There I put all the immediate updates. And so I posted it, and then some folks commented, rightfully so. That's not a big increase. But let's read the news though. Okay, Social Security benefits and supplemental security income payments for more than 72.5 million Americans will increase by 2.5% starting January 2025. Social Security has announced it today, which means, translated, about $50 a month. 2.5% doesn't sound much, but if you really recalculate it per person, $50 perhaps will make a difference. So certainly I wanted to report on that. And so National Economic Advisor Brainerd issued a statement today on September 2024 Consumer Price Index. So in today's statement, on September 2024, National Economic Advisor Brainerd noted that inflation has decreased to 2.4%, the same rate as before the pandemic. Okay, that is the big news. To quote President Biden, that is a big effing deal. She highlighted ongoing progress, including the return of inflation to pre-pandemic levels, the creation of 16 million jobs, lower interest rates, and low unemployment. Under the Biden-Harris administration, the economy has grown at an annual rate of 3.2%. Surpassing the previous administration, with incomes increasing by nearly $4,000 after adjusting for inflation. Brainerd emphasized the administration's commitment to aiding families affected by Hurricane Milton and Helene, supporting recovery efforts through a resilient economic framework. She also reiterated that President Biden and Vice President Harris will continue to fight for lower cost by promoting the construction of new homes to reduce rents, capping prescription drug prices, lowering health insurance premiums, and cutting tax for middle-class families. In contrast, she criticized congressional Republicans for advocating trickle-down economics, which would raise costs by nearly $4,000 per family while benefiting billionaires and large corporations. Okay, let's review some of your comments before we move on. Lisa says, yay, International Day of the Girl. Yes! Yes, I have a readout on that too. I'm excited to read the readout on that. Yep. Same, Brandon. Thank you. Yes, on Orange Cheeses trying to say Pete's names. Right. Yes, Jesus. $50 doesn't match the high cost of living challenges, but again, any progress, it's good. Exactly. But I think, it's worth noting. And so certainly Social Security has been asked by the previous administration so much. Excuse my French. So it is important to see the trajectory in the direction it's going to, right? So DOJ, now this is big news. This is big news, okay? And I have a video from Garland, whom you love, hate, I don't care. We have a video of him actually talking about it. Big thing today happened. If you're a customer of TD Bank, think again. The U.S. Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, very long name, has presented a historic $1.3 billion penalty against TD Bank for failing to comply with the Bank Secrecy Act. This is the largest fine ever imposed on an institution. bank per se. The bank admitted to significant deficiencies in its anti-money laundering program, which allowed substantial illicit transactions, including narcotics trafficking and human trafficking, to go unreported. The bank enabled drug trafficking. In one example, from this FinCEN investigation, TD Bank facilitated over $400 million in transactions to launder money on behalf of criminals that were selling fentanyl and other deadly drugs that are poisoning our neighborhoods. By the way, I was tuning into White House close briefing today, and they said that 7 out of 10 fentanyl drugs are bought online. So 70% is sold online, and certainly banks are facilitating this money transaction. In exchange for filing false or misleading reports on these transactions, TD Bank tellers accepted gift cards as bribes. In another example, TD Bank failed to detect the suspicious activities of one of its own employees who was accepting bribes in exchange for opening accounts in the name of shell companies. An independent monitor will oversee TD Bank's remediation efforts over the next 4 years. And here's Garland talking about this. Take a look.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, I want to extend my sympathy to the millions of Americans who've had their lives turned upside down by Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. I know I speak for all of us in expressing my gratitude to the first responders on the ground who are carrying out rescue missions. And I want to thank all the volunteers who are helping their neighbors get through these storms. And now to the subject of today's announcement. Today, TD Bank pled guilty to multiple felonies, including conspiring to violate the Bank Secrecy Act and commit money laundering. TD Bank has also agreed to a $1.8 billion criminal penalty. Combined with civil enforcement actions announced today by other agencies, the United States will be imposing a total of approximately $3 billion against TD Bank. TD Bank created an environment that allowed financial crime to flourish. By making its services convenient for criminals, it became one. Today, TD Bank became the largest bank in U.S. history to plead guilty to Bank Secrecy Act program failures and the first bank in history to plead guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering. This is also the largest ever penalty under the Bank Secrecy Act and the first time the Justice Department has assessed a daily fine against a bank. As part of the plea agreement, TD Bank will fundamentally restructure its corporate compliant program at its U.S.-based bank, which is the 10th largest in the United States. The bank has also agreed to the imposition of a 3-year monitorship and a 5-year term of probation. While the bank has started its remediation, it will continue to remediate and improve its anti-money laundering compliance program to ensure that the bank operates lawfully and safely moving forward.
Amen to that. Keith says, did you say 1.3? That it's a 3 billion penalty? No, the penalty is 1.3. I was having a readout from FinCEN, from this organization. Their penalty is 1.3. The total is 3 billion, as much as Garland just explained to you, because it does include other federal institutions and other payments. So, but the penalty, if we're referring to penalty, it's not 3 billion. So let's be specific. Online, Jesus, I can barely get my French doctor to prescribe me my same thing here in the US. Garland hasn't been in the coma. Good to know. Yeah, man. I mean, we go with what we have, right? So some news on the election. North Carolina implements measures to enhance voting access after hurricane. Following the recent hurricane, election boards in affected counties will have the authority to modify voting hours, relocate voting sites, and broaden the options for returning absentee ballots, thanks to new state legislation that was passed yesterday. The storm caused significant damage to infrastructure in many western areas of the state. So, other things connected to elections, specifically connected to the Harris campaign. We have a new statement from the badass All right. Whoop. Wrong. Here we go. Yes. So from Jan O'Malley Dillon, who's campaign chair for Harris Walls, um, she commented on the CNN debate and the town hall invitation. So she criticized Donald Trump for not participating in a debate with Vice President Harris, calling it a disservice to voters. She emphasized that Americans deserve to see candidates side by side to understand their differing visions for the country. Harris has accepted CNN's invitation for a live town hall on October 23rd, which will be in Pennsylvania, where she will present her plans and counter Trump's proposals, highlighting the risks of a second Trump term for American families. And certainly, we're going to have a watch party on October 23rd once the time is announced. I'm going to invite you to RSVP, but again, go to honestnetwork.com, create your profile, because I'm going to send all the invites right away to you. And you can RSVP there to all the watch parties. It's free. There's no charges. It's just us watching it together, spending time with like-minded people. Okay. I always share all the invites in our newsletter. So by the way, if you're not there yet, get it. Okay. Let's check your comments real quick. I don't much get criticism. A criminal case was brought against the former president for actions he took as president in 2023. That's 2 years from appointment, pretty fast for DOJ. Some things are good, some things are bad. Is everything good? Certainly not. Is everything timely? Certainly not. How's Trump running? That's my big question. With everything he has done, how is he still running? I think that any other individual, perhaps even a politician, if this politician would have done 1/10 of what Trump has done, they probably wouldn't be at least running. Walz is going on his own media blitz next week. Yes, I know. Starting tomorrow. Yes, and we will be reporting on that. So let's continue. Let's talk about Trump real quick. So he posted this crazy tweet, which is a thing for him now, and he's pushing for CBS to get their license revoked. Certainly, that's not freedom of speech and freedom of press. So I don't know if he read those two freedoms aside from the gun thing. He says a giant fake news scam by CBS 60 Minutes. Her real answer was crazy or dumb. So they actually replaced it with another answer in order to save her, or at least make her look better. A fake news scam, which is totally illegal. Take away CBS license. He also posted this. Lying Kamala, who's being exposed as a dummy every time she does a show, just stated to the degenerates on The View that she would have done nothing different. I mean, certainly, excuse me? Somebody calling a current elected accomplished vice president a dummy, and other women degenerates of The View? I mean, Obama just straightened up all the black voters, black man voters, and all that, because he was talking to specific demographics, saying, how dare you? The difference is so clear. The decision is so clear. How dare you even think about it? How dare you represent such numbers that it is 50-50? And here I'm asking everybody, when you read this piece of garbage, aren't you ashamed that this person has been a president? But aren't you afraid and ashamed tons, 1,000 billion times, that he's running and that it is 50-50? Talk to your neighbors, talk to your loved ones, talk to anybody with that goddamn Trump sign on the yard. What the hell are they thinking? This is embarrassing. This is nerve-wracking. It's disgusting. We don't talk about each other like this. We're not referring to anybody as a dummy and degenerate if we're not agreeing with their opinion. What is happening? And this guy has multi-million following across the platforms, and he is sort of about maybe, hopefully not, to win a goddamn presidency. This is somebody representing us, somebody who only deserves one ticket and one ticket only. And today is the World Mental Health Day. He deserves one ticket and one ticket only to a mental institution. So he can fart himself to sleep and poop himself to sleep and everything that he does. For God's sake. So the View responded. Sonia responded. Bunch of you sent me the same video. Thank you so much to everyone. Take a look.
Go ahead, son. Go ahead, Sonny. Your turn.
Well, I have a personal legal note.
Yes.
Donald Trump, I want to thank you for personally telling so many lies and committing so many alleged crimes and providing us with material on a daily basis. You help us do our jobs, and I'm so appreciative. Because of people like you, a former prosecutor and legal expert can become a fixture on a show like this. And again, I'm so grateful. I admit I may not have spent as much time in a courtroom as you have.
That's a good one.
I was also recognized with a Special Achievement Award by the Department of Justice. You remember the Department of Justice, right? It's the agency that's been pursuing you for decades. And like Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, I've had a history of prosecuting sex offenders.
Uh-oh.
So thank you for keeping people like us in business. And as for dumb questions, you're always welcome to come here and answer some, if sitting so close to a prosecutor won't make you nervous. I'll even give you a free View mug, not to be confused, though, with a mugshot, because that's your area.
Disagree. Not a ticket to a mental institution. He needs to go to prison. Mental institution and prison together. You know, I really don't care. Just at this point, just go. Just go. Because we were less than a month away from the election. We're facing multiple disasters that have been not just politicized, same as COVID, right? With thousands of people dead, has been politicized. We haven't learned anything from it, from this experience. Now we're politicizing disasters. We allow other people to die because they are believing in this sort of not just disinformation, but they're believing that they're living in some alternative universe where everything is against them. And my question is also to Democrats and Democratic leaders. Why haven't we learned since then? Certain person has currently immunity. Maybe MAGA had to be proclaimed a national terrorist organization. Maybe it has had to be labeled as such. Because between COVID-19 and the disasters today in 2024, there's the same MAGA, just on steroids. He's running again. It's 50-50 again. What have we done legally, politically, to stop this bullshit? Because this is not freedom of speech. This is not freedom of press. This is a freedom of hatred and not misinformation, lies that lead to death in large numbers. Food for thought. It makes me proud to be a lawyer again. Been hard lately, Trump's lawyers. Yeah, and thank you, Lisa, for being a lawyer. And I want to shout out to everybody. New Yang City 2024. Hey, thank you for joining. Thank you, Alexis, for joining. Thank you, Jimmy Johnston, for joining. Thank you, Brandon, for joining. Thank you, Keith, for joining. Thank you, Lisa, again, for joining. I appreciate all of you. Okay, let's move on. NATO, let's talk about NATO, shall we? On Thursday, October 10th, today, I have a picture. Ta-ta, let me pull it up. Yes, here we go. So on the right hand, you see Rutte. That's a former Prime Minister of Netherlands, the new Secretary General of NATO. And of course, on the left, you see the new UK's Prime Minister Starmer. So they met today. In fact, actually, Mark Rutte traveled to London for meetings with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy, and UK Defense Secretary John Healey. The visit marked Mark Rutte's first official trip to an ally nation since taking office as NATO Secretary General. Discussions focused on UK's significant contributions to the deterrence and defense of the alliance and support for Ukraine. Now, Secretary of Defense Austin spoke today with NATO Secretary General Rutte to emphasize U.S. support for NATO. Not today, they spoke on October 8th. Correction. They discussed strengthening NATO's defense, implementing agreements from past summits, and continuing aid for Ukraine. Both officials highlighted NATO's role in Ukraine's future membership and addressed ongoing challenges in the Middle East. They also reaffirmed NATO's commitment to its advisory mission in Iraq. Now, the latest on Ukraine, now from the Ukrainian perspective, Ukrainian President Zelensky met today with leaders from United Kingdom and NATO in London before traveling to France and Italy. So today he also met with Macron. I have a video. And then he met also with Meloni in Italy. So 3 countries in one day. That's a war president, okay? He has no time to lose, hitting all those countries in one day. So meanwhile, European Union countries have endorsed a new $45 billion loan for Ukraine, although U.S. involvement is now questionable because Hungary and Slovakia, Putin sympathizers, dictators, expressed their opposition to extending the EU sanctions against Russia. Now, in London, Zelensky met with Prime Minister Starmer and NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Here's a short video depicting their meeting. Take a look.
Let me welcome you here. It's so we'll go through it.
Okay, I forgot to show 2 Trump videos. Have you heard the video where he sharded himself today? So I have that video and I have another one. Let me know if you want to see it because I somehow skipped it. That was my subconscious that just skipped it. It's like out of sight, out of mind. Now, Zelensky also met with and this is just a cute moment, met with this little fella. If you're not familiar with this, because I had to Google it. So Zelensky also met with the chief Mauser of the cabinet office. Currently, it's the cat Larry. And this position has been held since 1515 in United Kingdom. Okay, we live and we learn. Cat Larry, very interesting. So the key topics for this conversation with Starmer, Zelensky, and Rutte were Euro-Atlantic integration and military strengthening of Ukraine with the aim of restoring a just peace. The leaders also discussed the implementation of the decisions of the Washington NATO summit and agreed on the next steps. So after that, Zelensky traveled to Paris, where he met with President Macron and addressed several questions from the press. He discussed the current situation on the front lines, highlighting the deficit in equipment and ammunition. When asked about a potential ceasefire deal and media speculation regarding his meetings with European leaders, he suggested these narratives might be influenced by Russian disinformation tactics. Take a look. Here's 1 minute, 50 seconds of him answering this question.
We're hearing worrying reports about what's happening on the east of the country, including what is happening in Torets. Can you tell us what the situation is like right now on the ground?
Situation on the east. I understood you that, and I understood something what I said about the training mission for our soldiers. The brigade, we are thankful to France for this. And on it depends a lot of things, and especially the situation on the east, because we didn't have enough rotation brigades equipped, totally equipped 100%. So now we work with France and with some other allies, and I hope that we can count in the nearest future soon. We can count on our strong guys. So of course, big deficit with the equipment. That is the first, and the second we also spoke about it. Second about that some some ammunition and permission to use some long distance. Not enough for our drones, long distance drone production. Not enough for today. So we are searching some funds, some money for this, for interior production, and some permission from our partners.
How worried are
Did you get any satisfaction about possible ceasefire under the security of the Western allies?
This is not the topic of our discussions. Any ceasefire from with other allies, and we didn't speak about it. I saw in media something that today was a lot of information that I came to speak about ceasefire. No, it's not right. I don't know where Russia works a lot with media, with information, so it's understandable.
So also he mentioned that the next peace summit is tentatively scheduled for November, though the exact date has yet to be determined. And to some of your question, Keith says, how would Hungary and Slovakia dropping support affect the U.S. decision? Thank you for your question. Let me explain. Hungary and Slovakia are not just dropping support, they're vetoing support. The idea here is to allocate Russian assets, the profit of Russian assets, same as US did, within European Union. And European Union is agreeing upon that. But then Hungary and Slovakia are vetoing this decision. So US can only join something that is actually finding place and is happening. So if they're vetoing it, it's not happening. So US cannot join anything. I hope this is a bit clear. Terry says, hi all, this is such a crazy long busy day. So probably this has already been said. I missed the beginning, but I'm so disappointed that Barack did not work in a thank you to Joe Biden during his speech in Pittsburgh. No, we haven't talked about Barack Obama. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. So I want all of the event and recap the entire thing, not just little clips. But thank you, Terry. And if this is what did not happen, I certainly share your opinion and your take on that. He's such an impressive person. Zelensky or Biden or Macron? Jimmy? Tell me. But I think all of them are kind of are. Now, meanwhile, given that today's celebration of World Mental Health Day, First Lady, Ukrainian First Lady, Olena Zelenska, participated in the event called Moments of Resilience Every Day, which was in Kiev at the Boryspil Airport. Why I'm having a readout? Because this is just so interesting to me, because they're talking about the resilience and the stress factor of Ukrainians. Meanwhile, think about it. They live either under occupation, under bombing, where you have those sirens ongoing. We talk to people on the phone, there's sirens constantly. Kids go to school in the metro, right, in the subway, underground. So if they're bombed, they're not dying. So let me say this, it's a stressful environment. Okay, so today they came up with the statistics. Nearly 1 in 3 Ukrainians, 1 in 3, experiences elevated stress levels. Well, no shit. 11% have high stress, 40% have moderate, and 13 have low. I'm asking how. I mean, I'm applauding you, and I have high stress levels, but goddamn. Okay, respect. These are the results of a study presented at the event. At the same time, the study showed that 73% of Ukrainians possess significant resilience resources. 35% are resilient, and another 38% are mostly resilient. I mean, I understand statistics and I respect them, but I think all of you, 100% of you, are resilient. Whether you remained there, especially since those who remained in Ukraine, but also those who had to leave. No shit, Sherlock. Yes, Lisa. Yeah, that was exactly my reaction. But all of you are resilient. All of you on the stress. Exactly. Jimmy says Zelensky is an impressive person. Yes, Jimmy, I appreciate you saying that, and I agree. Quickly about the Middle East. U.S. President, of course, U.S. President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister spoke yesterday for the first time in over a month in what White House described as direct and productive. I had a readout from their conversation yesterday. It was a bunch of nothing. It was like, blah, 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 blah. They talked. So Israel is considering its response to last week's missile attack from Iran, with Defense Minister Gallant stating in the video after the Biden Netanyahu conversation, which was released last night, that the retaliation would be, quote, deadly, precise, and above all, surprising, end quote. The call between the leaders occurred as Israel intensifies its ground campaign against Hezbollah in Lebanon in response to Israeli raids, which are focused on southern Lebanon and leading to mass evacuations. Countries and aid organizations are increasing their humanitarian support for the region. U.S. has also allocated money for the aid in Lebanon. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller emphasized that there should be no kind of military action in Lebanon that resembles what happened in Gaza. Now, my question is, how much is Israel listening to that? Recent history shows that whatever U.S. suggests Israel to not do, they then ultimately do. So we'll see. We'll see. We cover it as we see. Now, to give you a bit of a break from the politics, our last segment, if you will, is a bit for the soul. And so I was scrolling through Instagram because, as you may have known, I had no internet for 4 days. And so I was watching television and scrolling on Instagram and, sharing my spot thing, whatever, with my computer to do all kinds of newsletters for you. But I saw some promos for different movies. And so here's a bit of a story time. First, why do you think I have Xanax dispenser? Lisa is referring to stress levels. We have been extra stressing this year, especially 3-4 months. I know my stress actually dropped quite a bit after Biden's old narrative and public beatdown stopped. Listen, I'm very worried since I cover the White House. I want to know who I'm covering for the next 4 years. So until I know for sure, after January 20th, I will be satisfied. Until then, may we fight, may we do something that matters. Now, to story time, okay? So, a year or so ago, I had an honor to interview a now retired executive at NASA. So, we had an extensive interview, and I will be republishing soon, because it was published, and I will create some edits to make it current and publish it again. Very insightful interview. He also wrote a book saying that good manners will get you there where brains and money won't. So you can guesstimate his way of thinking. Somebody who really, worked himself into the executive position at NASA. He was in charge of the new generation at NASA, different projects. He shared all about it. So in that interview, we'll release it on the weekend. So if you want, you can certainly tune in. It's about an hour, but very insightful, very calming, very intellectual and friendly and warm, above all. And so at the end, we had some Q&A from the audience. And one question was, what is needed? What are the factors that are decisive factors if somebody wants to pursue career at NASA? And then he shared a story about Jose Fernandez. And this gentleman who applied multiple times to become an astronaut, right? So please listen to him about Jose Fernandez, and then I'm going to tell you the other update on that.
I love to tell the story of one of our astronauts named Jose Hernandez, who was a wonderful person, but he was the son of migrant farm workers. These are families traditionally of Mexican heritage that I knew of in California, who went around the state to harvest vegetables and fruits for the big salad bowl of the country. And they would go around and depending on the season. Well, they didn't have access to the best schools. They didn't have a consistent education, but yet this guy, Jose Hernandez, said, well, I want to be an engineer. And long story short, he became an engineer, and then he decided he wanted to be an astronaut. And here's the thing about Jose that's fascinating. Jose Hernandez applied to be an astronaut 11 times before he was selected. 11. Now, I defy anybody listening to this to honestly examine how many times they wanted something and stayed with keep trying after 11 and say, do you have what it takes? And it's not that he just kept repeating the application. Jose figured out, well, what does the astronauts have that I don't have? Well, they all know how to scuba dive, so he taught himself scuba diving. They all know how to fly planes, so he taught himself how to fly planes. Well, most of them know how to speak multiple languages, so he taught himself Russian. So the tenacity is, what is it going to take for me to demonstrate to NASA that I'm worthy? And they eventually said yes, and he flew a couple of times in space on the shuttle. And he is the most down-to-earth, regular person, but smart as a whip. But he was tenacious and ambitious.
So Jose Hernandez, I even put it in the goddamn newsletter. Hernandez. My sincere apologies about that. Now you can guesstimate my excitement when I was scrolling through TikTok and Instagram and all that, and then I see a promo about the movie about Jose Hernandez. Take a look.
Sir, if I may, this is my strongest application yet, and this would be my 12th attempt, not my 11th.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm sorry, sir?
What's changed? What's different this time?
Over the course of the last 10 years, every academic, professional, and personal decision I've made with the space program in mind.
Sure.
I have my master's in electrical engineering. I'm a pilot now with over 800 hours under my belt. I have my scuba diving certificate. I just ran the San Francisco Marathon.
Wow.
And I speak Russian, sir. In fact, I volunteered to travel to Siberia as part of the transparency program for the U.S. Department of Energy. I'm the father of 5 most perfect children and then the husband of the most incredible wife who threatened to leave me if I didn't come here today. I've applied 12 times, and yes, sir, I've been on the verge of giving up after each and every rejection, but you know what, sir? Here I am. So you could turn me down again, but rest assured, I'll be standing here again in a year.
So I was happy to see that this movie is available on Prime. This is not a commercial. I don't have links to promote here, but A Million Miles Away, and Lisa commented on that. I haven't watched it yet. So it's released in 2023, end of last year. So it's a story about Jose Hernandez, which you can watch. So if you're looking for something aside from politics that will make you happy, that will perhaps encourage you to pursue your dreams with more tenacity, I strongly recommend you to watch it. That was beautiful. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, let's share some good tips. I didn't know you were going to talk about the movies. I saw it last year, was so good. Meaning his story is amazing. That's America. And that's my whole point. I want to, when I bring something, I always think about the intention, right? And my intention, not to talk about movies and Spider-Man premiered today, but not about that, or promote anything. But let's come back to values. Let's come back to what we know America is known for, that America is admired for, that America is loved for. And it starts with us. It starts with us to rekindle those values and to live those values, right? To live them out. So if we embrace it, if we live like that, we will come back to feeling also and seeing that all around us and celebrating American values. American values are not hatred. American values is not a Trump flag and Trump everything in the garden. That's foolish. American values is not just, what people are referring to now, loud and this. No. Land of opportunity, land of acceptance, a melting pot where everybody's coming from somewhere but found their home here. So let's watch that, let's watch it and let's embrace it and let's believe in that, that's really at core. There is a new Spider-Man movie today because Empire State Building is lighting up as Spider-Man. They sent the message. Yes. Harris is about to speak at a rally. Okay, Brandon. Thank you. Did you know about Black women? Yes, there's a beautiful movie as well, and that's what I'm highlighting tomorrow. Oh my God, you guys taking all my points here. Go. Yes, I love that movie. My favorite one. Yeah, about the black. Yeah, it's Black women who did the calculation, and I really like that the movie you're referring to, where she wanted to go to the bathroom at NASA, and it was only male bathroom, and she had to run across the campus to find female bathroom, and they said, "Why are you always late?" She's like, "I'm running to the bathroom." So and there were so many. I'm good friends with somebody who's the first female banker in the U.S., and she said how she couldn't have. There was no female bathroom when she was studying, and referring then back to RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, where she was studying, and there was no female bathroom in the college. Exactly. Yes, Hidden Figures. Exactly. Yes, that's the movie that I encourage you to see. Okay. Lastly, for your soul, here's a picture. It's a cute picture, but here's a story. This is a tender moment between Russian spy Beluga, right? That little buddy here. This buddy was a Russian spy. So they put a belt with cameras and some, bunch of equipment on this poor Beluga. And so his name was Hvaldimir. No, not Vladimir, but Hvaldimir. And so in the fisherman, Joar Heston from Denmark. So it's a shared photograph which has been given finalist status in the 2021 Sony World Photography Awards. Haston was the one who freed Vladimir from the military camera harness he had been wearing when he suddenly showed up in northern Norway, not Denmark, Norway, in April 2019. During that summer and autumn, Hanston visited the whale, looked after it, and discussed with local fishermen how they could best protect it. 5 weeks ago, Valdemar, who comes and goes as he pleases, was in Sorfold, Norway, appearing fit and active. He has been there since November, according to locals who keep an eye on him. So he immigrated, so to speak, from he escaped the Russian regime. Even the beluga whale escaped the Russian regime thanks to this beautiful Norwegian fisherman. So this is something for your soul too. So there's a way. There is a way. What the fuck? Where was the spy stationed? They actually used a bunch of whales and dolphins too. They put a bunch of cameras and equipment. What am I showing on me? Anyway, they put a bunch of equipment and cameras and to sensors and stuff like that. Because when they swim, they can they track them where they swim to, and certainly they can then detect any nuclear submarines and stuff like that. So for that reason, they are using those dolphins, and and it's a very infamous story where Russians say that they use this war dolphins to protect the Crimean Bridge that Ukraine is desperate to blow up and tried already several times. So yeah, mad clapping. Exactly. Thank you, Callie. Yes. So I thank you for joining me today. I'm going to record. Listen, I'm on a mission to spread the actual news now across TikTok and Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, same Onest Press and Onest Network. If you're on TikTok, same story. Certainly, I can't use those platforms as Twitter shitter, where I put all the writings, because it has to be videos. So now I'm forcing myself, and that's what I dedicated this time before now and our watch party, to record this goddamn videos. I feel old, I feel out of tune, but somehow they go viral and whatever. So if you're following Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, please follow me. So it's not just MAGA people, because they do harass me and I do block them, trying to navigate the algorithms. But the story is to share actual news across platforms and do it in a way that it is sort of approachable or, accommodating to those platforms. So please join me. It was very fun. I will be on some panel talk about women voting. It will be on October 22nd. I'm going to share more about it. It's live. And it was so funny because they said, what do you want to talk about to warm up? I said, warm up? I don't need to warm up to talk about women and voting and why women need to vote and, some tips on who to choose. I don't need no warm up. So I'll share more about that. But please hit this like button so I don't have to answer to my mom, okay? And share it. And please subscribe to this letter. And please support in the way clicks and likes and shares and subscribe, whatever, because we can then grow together and spread actual news, okay? So here's again, onest.substack.com. Please subscribe to that, get actual news, consume actual news, not broken news. And I'm going to see you at our watch party today, 10 at 10 p.m. Eastern. So again, lastly, if you're not signed up yet, get on board. Get to our watch party, Onest, ONEST, network.com. Hit events in the menu. RSVP to our watch party. You get a link. This is our private party. We're not streaming it anywhere. We can discuss things. You can leave your camera on or off. We have the mics on to discuss it afterwards if you want to stay. If not, have a good time and sleep well. If you just want to listen, tune in. So just providing a way for us to spend time together and have like-minded people. If you want to hear some news that are exciting, join 8:55 because I'm going to share some nice news that I want to share on the live stream. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Brandon. Yes, going to eat. Go ahead. I'm going to eat too, by the way. I already have my salad made. Love that you don't need to warm up. Yeah, you got it. Wake me up. I'm going to talk about voting and women. What are you talking about? And reposts. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Keith. There's going to be good. CNN will be as well. Yeah, 23rd. The town hall with Harris on CNN. Liking a tweet isn't enough. We have to repost them. That's true, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for commenting. I joined, but I'm in night classes. Year ago, why I've been showing up late since early September. Oh, Paul. Okay. Well, join us at any time. Whenever you're done, join us anytime. It's 10 p.m. So maybe, I'm not sure where you are, East Coast, West Coast, middle. So we'll be there. Even if you join us for 5 minutes, we'll appreciate it. I said CNN will be hell, not as well. Yeah, CNN will be hell, but us together will help us to survive it. Listen, if we survive these debates and all this pass the torch movement with Biden, we might not be as tough as here. 11% Ukrainians are experiencing high levels of stress 3 years into war, almost. But we'll make it together. Or that might be doable. Okay, Paul. Good. Bookmarking the tweet for the broadcast. Good. Okay. Let's eat. Let's pour a drink or something, whatever you want to drink. I thought you said a different time. 10 p.m. tonight, Eastern. Yes. So onestnetwork.com. Click. It will send you an email with the link and everything. Don't ask me to send you emails. It's all automatic. Okay. I don't even know the links. So it sends me same emails as it sends to you. All right. Thank you for joining. Thank you for supporting. Here's the little Trump hands. And I see you tomorrow for actual news. And tomorrow we will have a panel talk. And we will discuss the media blitz, Harris Walz media blitz of this week. We're going to review some clips from Colbert Show, from The View, from 60 Shitty Minutes. I didn't like the vibe. From Jimmy Kimmel and all that kind of stuff. And also Town Hall today. So that is tonight. So we're going to review it tomorrow with some of you folks, but on the screen. Okay? Late night party, y'all. See you soon. Yes, Keith. See you soon. And thank you for tuning in. And see you tomorrow and see you at the watch party. Have a good one.